Good to have you again. Today, the 16th day of June 2024. Today is Sunday, the first working day of a new week. I want to appreciate you for always being here, especially those of you who are here encouraging the gospel of truth and those who believe in the narrative of what Mazen kind of represents. And as much as you know, what we do here is to always make sure that we sustain truth and help to propagate truth all over the nations of the world. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm with Mazen and Bikano. Um, this is 6 minutes past 2 my time, which is about 6 minutes past 3 Biafra time. And all over the nations of the world also, you can calculate the time from there. Of course, your time tells us the time difference. Mazen and Bikano's court case will be coming up this week, 19th and 20th. They're talking about hearing and trial this week. And we are watching. We know that he will be released, whether they like it or not. They have no choice because they can't hold truth. There's no way you can hold truth. The whole world can attest to the fact that Mazen Namdekano is a personality of truth, a person who is definitely unbeatable, unkillable, if there's a word like that, and who represents the conscience of Africa and the conscience of humanity. Of course, the message of Yahweh. We bless him, we thank him because he has given us somebody like Mazen Amdekano who is standing on the path of truth and who becomes a cynosure of truth to us all. I greet you also. Please, as you join in, just like this video, share it on all your social media platforms, and then also um, like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that we can spread and go as much as we can go. I'm not consistent online, not because I don't want to be online, but please pardon me. For the meantime, I might not be consistent, but by God's grace, as time goes on, I'll get to be more consistent. Now, I want to go to the topic of today, very, very crucial topic, very, very crucial topic anyways. It's going to take us through a very deep, you know, process of reasoning, a very deep a depth that a depth that is unimaginable, because we are going to tell ourselves some kinds of truth, or the kind of truth that would help us appreciate if we are doing the right thing or the wrong thing right now. And except we go to look at these things critically, we might just find ourselves dancing around and jubilating over things that will never be. That is freedom. Freedom does not come because people are crying, they're screaming, we want to be free. Freedom does not come because people are just, telling you that they are the we are Biafrans, or we are a nation and we have to be free. Freedom does not come because you said it. Freedom comes because people decided to take freedom. Now, if you look at the nature of things regarding how we approach freedom in Africa, especially the brown colored skinned people, whom they call the blacks, as a derogatory word for or phrase, the blacks, to characterize us and to put us in a state of guilt, a state of self denial, and a state of longing for what is actually not superior, because they want you to, they call themselves white so that you would feel inferior, and then you long to be like them because you think they are superior. Most of our people will go change their skin. I've seen several people thinking of bleaching, changing their skin because they want to look like, they want to look presentable, in the sense that being presentable means to look like the whites. Why do we have wigs everywhere that tallies with the hair, the natural hair of the Westerners? Why do we have people wanting to bleach their skin, put on wigs, and have their hair like theirs? And why do we have such kinds of you know you know allowing them to become a role model in negativity? Some people want to get involved in transgender program because they see that these people are carrying it out. Someone wants to become, he wants to begin to talk about gay rights because Americans have adopted such kinds of stuff. Why do we have such these kinds of things? They are signs to us of the level of our inferiority. These are just some, this has to do with the physical stuff. Now we're going to go deeper into it so that you can now come to understand why somebody else wants to change their skin. They want to bleach, they want to buy wig, and the wig must look like American hair or the hair of the Westerners or the Chinese or those foreign people. The wig must not be their own kind of hair, it must be foreign. Look at most of the wigs sold out there, they are having the texture and the feature of the Western hair. That is a sign of inferiority because we feel that we are inferior and we feel they are superior. So we want to do things like them, so that we would feel like we have, um, and they know that we know all of that. They know that we feel lesser than them. So they propagate and spread their gospel through their behavior, their approach, their policies, and all of that to influence us all over the nations of the world. I was watching a particular, talk show, I think Economic Summit, something, World Economic Summit, and I think Joe Biden was sitting there, and one other man was sitting there, and he was making a very critical statement. He said something. He said they had a policy or a plan, to, reduce the world population by 2023. Sorry, in 2023, reduce the world population by 50%. And he said, as of now, they have really gone far in doing that. That suggests so many things to us. That tells us that those things that you see coming all over, like pandemics and all those stuff, were actually intentional acts or intentional things brought into our system to eliminate the world, to eliminate people, to reduce. Now, when they do these things, nobody queries them, nobody asks questions, nobody is going to say, why is this going on? But when an African does something, they are very, they can, especially when it goes against them, they are very upright to take an action, and all of that, in the sense of uprightness in their sense, because they always want to feel upright and feel that you don't have any right to what is yours. I was also listening to a documentary of a lady, Millie or something, and she talked about, I think she's a pioneer of bringing up a treatment for cancer with just a laser beam or something. It's some tiny stuff that she said that when the light comes on it, it becomes very hot because it vibrates so fast and it becomes very hot and kills everything in its way. And she said she studied physics and all of that, and she was just wondering why, if it is possible, why they are finding it hard to deal with cancer without chemo and all of this stuff, that your hair begin to fall off and all of that. If hundreds and thousands and millions of people can be in a particular place, and you call the cell phone and only one person that you intend to receive the call picks the call, if that is possible, then why is it not possible to also have to also be able to do something just within the body that can target that cancer and kill it, rather than killing the person gradually? Because the treatment we have of cancer right now, it's like when you kill the cancer, you're also killing the person gradually. The person is losing their hair, it's going to be dependent on drugs, it's going to continue, because you have treated cancer according to the treatment. Now, the treatment, everything they tend to treat leads to something else. By the drugs you take, it either destroys your kidney, your liver, or something. Something is going wrong. It's just like hypertension drugs or diabetes drugs. You are taking diabetes drugs, and you are thinking diabetes, that's how it's pronounced, right? Okay, diabetes. You're taking diabetes drugs, and it is like you are treating diabetes, but you are also killing either your liver or your kidney and all of that. So you think you are treating diabetes and you think it's going, or you're controlling it, but you're killing something else. You think you are treating hypertension, and the drugs you are taking, they are killing something else. So why is it always like that? Why do they have such kinds of side effects? They have to put such kinds of things that will cause such kinds of side effects, because you have to keep being sick. You have to keep coming for treatment. They have to keep treating. They have to keep doing some stuff. Look at the COVID issue and all the controversies, but yet nobody's saying anything about it, because those who propagated it, those who spearhead those kinds of things, are people who are controlling the world. Anyways, let's come to what we're talking about today. Why are slaves always afraid of always afraid of freedom? Why? You ask yourself, why are slaves always afraid of freedom? If you look critically, let's use the nation Biafra as a yardstick of measuring what we are trying to say, or of of making our case, our case study in our Biafra nation, or the black nation, or the brown colored skinned people, or the Africans. Sometimes the word Africa, they said it's composed by somebody. It's not really African. The name was not African and all of that. But anyways, our concern is that we all know where we are from, and we bear our name according to where we're from. Now, if you look at how we became slaves, then it will tell you how and why we are still where we are. Because if you want to go technically, looking at the world today, you'll discover that slavery comes in two ways. One, enslaving yourselves to be enslaved. That means you position yourself in a way and you treat yourselves as slaves to empower the other person who is external to enslave you. Two, you are conquered by a group of people who are stronger than you, even if you believe in yourself and you know that you are just special. But in spite of that, because they are superior in the sense of arms, ammunition, and all of that, they are able to defeat you. Now, if you want to check out the behavior of those who are enslaving themselves to be enslaved, or who help the slave masters to enslave them, if you want to check their behavior and check and compare with the behavior of those who believe that they are special and superior, but yet they are conquered because the enemy had superior weapons and all of that, you discover that the one who is always seeing himself as inferior always is afraid of being free. Check it out in the context of Africa generally, or West Africa also generally, Africa anyways. You will discover that when the slave masters came, we helped them enslave ourselves. We helped them conquer us, because we saw how the chiefs, the leaders, the kings, those who were like controlling us, were helping the slave masters based on what they want to get. Now, you heard, of course, when they were going to conquer Lagos and all of that, they used some of our brothers who are from the Ghanaian region and all of that, came to conquer the people. How come we allow people come into our territory and conquer us and defeat us and take our resources and give us? Those days they were giving them things like sweet, like gunpowder, like this, to buy people, to make them sell their brothers, their own people, to them. Things like sweet, they give sweet for you. You sell somebody to get sweet because you want to lick sweet. You have not seen something like that before. Now, when you don't have value for yourself, you see yourself as cheap, as what is inferior to you or less inferior to you. Why would anybody sell his brother for sweet? Why? Why would anybody sell his brother because he saw gunpowder? Why would anybody sell himself because he saw a gun? Because he feels that his own life and the life of his brother have no value. For him to boost his own value, he needs that gun, and he needs to sell his brother who doesn't have a value in his own eyes. And so he sells his brother and he gets the gun, and he becomes the slave of the one who gave him the gun, because the one who gave him the gun knows how to control him using a superior weapon, knowing that he has given him a gun, but he has something better to deal with him and deal with the gun. And he has to depend on that slave master to continually have the gunpowder and the bullets to utilize the gun. And he tells his brother, he tells that man, he tells the slave that for him to continually also have that power, he needs to use the gun to put his own brothers under subjection, or to cause his own brothers to be slaves under him. When we don't have value for ourselves, we tend to actually seek for, there's no vacuum in human in nature. There's always something. When you are empty inside, you want to feel it. You want to look for something to make you happy. You want to just have something occupy your mind, or you need somebody around you and all of that. You want to have something that will relieve you of that feeling. The feeling of slavery was already in the midst of our people, because at the point our people were beginning to see themselves as inferior. When the Westerners came into our community and land, they saw the Westerners. They made them feel like, wow, you guys are different. When they see a man coming out and his skin is very bright or fair colored, every people come out and they surround. All right, it seems we're back. I think the network is somehow bad. Now, I was saying something. I'm trying to make you understand the difference between the reason why you find, the average people in the Western nations fight those who want to oppress them and die for what they believe in. The reason why it is like that with them is because they have a different mentality about themselves than what we have in Africa. Why we are still where we are is that we tend to be the ones encouraging ourselves to be enslaved. Now, we're going somewhere because we want to look at why slaves are always afraid of being free. Now, the fear of being free is actually the fear that keeps you satisfied with slavery. When you look at our attitude and behavior from what you can deduce now and from the way we operate, even in our family settings, in the village, wherever we are, in the village settings and all of that, in communities and all of that, you see how we want to be worshipped by those who are around us. We want to, people around us to see us as better because we feel that we have this superiority complex that makes us behave inferior. You go to an average family, for instance, you discover that somebody in that family wants to be seen as all in all, and he doesn't mind taking something from somewhere or taking the family land, selling it alone, eating the money alone, or doing something to make himself to be above every other person. he sees himself as someone who should be better than every other person because he feels that they're all down. So he needs to be a bit up, and he needs to get what will make him be up from somewhere else. And he's ready to do anything, to sacrifice anything to get that thing from that place, even if he has to work for that person or that place, to work for that person against his own community and against his own people. So it is a very, very dire situation. And so how do people do this? Naturally, there's been this feeling, from birth, that, let me come to the context of Nigeria. From birth, you have you are told that you are a Nigerian, and you are given an anthem, and you are told that Nigeria is a British, was put together by the British. They tell you in history that the name Nigeria came from one Lugard and Flora Shaw or so. And they keep all these narratives continually bombarding your mind from childhood. They never told us history of our nation, the Igbo nation, the Hausa nation, the Yoruba nation, and all of that. They don't teach you those histories. They want to teach you the history of Mungo Park, who discovered River Niger, telling you that everything about you was discovered by them. They teach you history of how we were primitive, and then they came in and they introduced democracy. They introduced them, right-hand drive. They introduced car. They invented this. They gave you this. They gave you a better life. They came and changed the system. They give you history of their style. They said when they came into Africa, Africa was too primitive, and then they changed the narrative. They now tell you that your worship was a worship unto idol. Now they have a superior worship and all of that. They give you some narrative and all of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that people didn't worship idols, including the people who brought this to you to also, they worship idols. We have demonic people all over the nations of the world. In fact, if you want to talk about religious control and religious domination and dominance of the people and the minds of the people, it comes from them. Because every empire that has come and gone, governed with the notion of religion, just like the beginning of the religious stuff that began with the Nimrod controlling the minds of the people, controlling the affairs of the people, and holding the people to ransom until the religion started spreading. When languages began to change, more languages came around when God divided the people by language, and they took the religious mindset and went and began to control their people in their little ways. And it formed several empires, including the Egyptian empire. When the Israelites had to go into Egypt, God had to deal with the Egyptians dealing with their religious beliefs with the templates. Now, if you go by study, you will discover this is his truth, because everything that God did as a miracle against the Egyptians were against their worship style, their religious programs, their religious mindset, and their worship, icons. They worshipped several things, and God dealt with those things that they worshipped. So every empire used religion as a means of control. And for that to happen also against the people, first they want to make you feel that you are inferior, and then they now want to make you feel that they have something superior. Their own idol can be better than yours. Yes, some of our people worship idols, quite all right. But the problem here is that we had already a system where everybody seemed to be like, especially when the Europeans came in, we began to give them credence, we began to give them attention, we began to give them, that opportunity to control us further. So if you look at the average African, you discover that the mindset of the African, in the way he was colonized, he was already having an inferior position about himself. And then, of course, when that happened, the few of them who are criminals or who are corrupt want to now capitalize on that to see that they become better than others, because they believe that they're all down, so he needs to be up. And how this happens is that these colonial people, or these colonial masters, make some of these people they have identified as greedy amongst the people to believe that they can make them better than their people by giving them what they want, only for them to get what is just with their people to them and control their people on their behalf. I was listening to a particular, stuff sent by somebody, on the platform I am, on one of our Biafra platforms. And he was excited. He made a program out of the fact that Okowa, the Delta State governor, was saying that he's an Igbo man. He made a program out of it, and he was trying to show that yes, that our people are beginning to identify with themselves. Now, in the first place, why should that be a program? Because one man said he's an Igbo man. Why should that be a program? It's just like an American say, I'm an American, or I am this. And then somebody makes a program. Wow, he said he's an American. Yes. Now we're beginning to identify ourselves. Now, which means that there is something lost about your identity that you are beginning to now try to make people aware that you actually have discovered. So before Okowa will come out to say that, there's been this misrepresentation about the identity, which they also facilitated because they want to control resources and make money. The reason why the leaders of each community agreed themselves to be divided, and this one called Anambra, this one called this, and this one called that, and all of that, put in all those places, and the leaders of those communities accepted that, was because then by the plan and program, the colonial masters have already designed them to control the other people and to give them resources in abundance. So they will be like those controlling those people on the behalf of these colonial masters. And then as they colonize the people on behalf of the colonial masters give them whatever they want and make them rich and make them feel better than others, give them privileges. That is why today you see them steal government resources, steal everything, and they can travel anywhere all over the nations of the world. It's known that these are thieves, but they are permitted because they are working in tandem with the political image of the global order or the world order of the colonial masters. As long as even if you steal, just make sure that you are working for the colonial masters or the world order, which Russia and Putin is trying to break. Once you are doing that, you are not going to be tried, you are not going to be dealt with, you are not going to be queried, you will live your life, and you must continue to suppress your people, to subdue them, to make sure the colonial masters get what they want to be getting every time, so that they can sustain you, continue to make you rich, and you will continue to feel more important than your other people. So we have had this betrayal of self-denial, betrayal of community, betrayal of brothers and sisters. It has been there, deep-seated in us. We have had this divide about who is better than who, and then the colonial masters came in and capitalized on that, checked those ones who seem to have the better argument and who have the criminal nature, fund them, give them what they want, and then make them control others. Because when you give them what they want, there will be no argument about who is better than who. Rather, these ones will forcefully put you where you belong and tell you that's where you belong. Formerly, it was an argument. We are better than you. I am better than you. Oh, you are better. I'm the chief. I am this. I am that. But there was nothing to, actually make it very clear and cause a divide in that regard. Then the colonial masters comes and gives you more money, tells you can recruit some of these people and make them your boys and use them to intimidate other people. And then you see it as an opportunity for yourself to control this people better rather than having an argument. And that is where the light dies. Now, the truth about it is that whenever a people are fighting within, confused, there are people within them that will be empowered to deal with other people so that the enemy will come and take what they want to take. It's just like you have a house full of wealth and all of that, and you have security, serious security, whether the gates or whatever, whether electric security and all of that, guarding the house, guiding everywhere, and making sure that nothing is taken out and nothing goes out of the house and no enemy invades the place. And if they want to invade, they would have to deal with you and deal with the people in the house, knowing that they cannot penetrate anybody and everybody is secure and everybody have one mind. They cannot use one of you against you. So all they will keep doing is to see how they can come and kill you or come and defeat you. And the more they can't do that, the more they feel frustrated. But when they now come to that place and discover that within you in that house, you're arguing about that wealth, you're arguing about who will have more than the other, you're arguing about who is should be in control of the wealth and all of that, the first thing they will do is that they will help you feel that they have a solution. Coming to the one, looking at the argument and listening to the argument, they now are able to discover those people who, in the midst of the argument, have a criminal mindset or have the mindset of being brutal about their control and seeking another way of really taking this thing out of the other person. They come and suggest to them that we can help you do this. All you need to do is that we're going to give you what you're going to use to subdue the other one or kill the other person. And then we are going to, we need this thing that people are talking about. We need some of them to give you something better. It is from that thing that you have, that wealth in your house, that will help to give you what you need to control the other people. And that one now say, okay, he now gives them access, betrays the others, gives them access through the loophole, and they take over the house. They begin to take the resources, and they begin to give him something inferior, which he thinks is more important because he can use it to control you. And then they give him some of the wealth also to control. And then they use some of the wealth, collect the wealth from him, use it to get some stuff for themselves, and then build an empire for themselves. The Western nations today, all of them, all those places were built by the resources from Africa, built by our resources, built by what we have. And still, till today, we have few people who are sitting, making this to continue, making this criminality to continue, and making them thrive to continue to keep us in subjugation and all of that. And this you find easily because when you look at how our people are always seeking to even empower those who are oppressing them and fight against those who are trying to help them to be free, you can now understand the mindset that has put us in the place where we are today. Slavery is a very complex thing because it affects one, not just your mind, it affects your emotion, which is the dimension of your soul realm, of course. And not only does it affect your emotion, it affects your resources. Not only does it affect your resources, it affects your personality. And that is why an average person who has been in slavery or growing up in slavery, born in slavery, growing up, is being fed with information that will keep them to see themselves as less than the person who is in charge. So that when they keep seeing themselves in that light, they keep also making them not have enough, so that they would believe that for them to ever have whatever they are having, even if it is not enough, they have to keep seeing themselves the way they see themselves and pay homage or respect the notion of the person who is bringing that stuff to them, that little they are getting. And because in the human mind or in the nature of the human or the nature of humans, there is this longing to be free. There's this longing for freedom. There's this longing to have a kind of self, and satisfaction, to satisfy yourself and all of that. It is now taken out of context by those who are into evil activities and all of that. Those ones seek for what they can use to satisfy themselves at the expense of others. While some other people seek for how they can be free by joining or thinking that they can speak, and support those people whom they think have the courage to have spoken, not knowing that these people are only speaking because they are wanting to control them, at the same time having a favor from the colonial masters. Because every slavery program, the colonial masters need some of the people within which they want to enslave to be the eye or the instrument of controlling the entire people. Now, the fear of freedom can be traced to how much we see ourselves. What is happening in Nigeria today, the killing of people by terrorists and all of that. What is happening happen in America or anywhere else, you'll discover that those ones don't joke. They believe, they know, they believe in themselves, they believe they are superior, they believe they are important. So when terrorists get into their system to slaughter people, look at what is happening in Israel today. Let Maybe using the word just may not be appropriate here, but just 1,200 people slaughtered in Israel, invaded by the Hamas Palestinians, slaughtering Israelis just for one day, 9th of October 2023, and 1,200 people were slaughtered. For the past 8 months, the Israelis have penetrated that place where those terrorists come from. And they don't mind whether those who are being killed, well, however it is, because if you mind, you will not throw any bomb. But the truth about it is that there must be casualties. But the truth about it is that they prefer to target one and 10 die who are innocent. As long as they kill that one who is guilty, it is a price to pay on both sides. The reason why they approach it that way is because they have a different orientation about themselves. They have a different mindset about who they are. They see themselves as important, and as so important that one person amongst them is very, very, very important to the whole. Because when you deal with one, you can also deal with another. And they believe that if they allow this, but check out in the Nigeria context. From the time the Fulani started invading, when the so-called democracy began, from that time to now, we have had so many. Papa Juba says slave is a sickness without solution. Now, I'm going to say to this that the solution is in us, but we seem not to find the solution because we don't know the problem or the cause of slavery or the reason why we are slaves. That's why we don't know. Now, if you check the behavior of the Israelis against one terrorist attack, just one day terrorist attack that killed 1,200 people or so, and check the terrorist attack over since 1999 till this date, which has killed thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the north, in the south, in the west of the contraption called Nigeria. And yet everybody is sitting and even fighting somebody who came out to say that we need to solve this problem by disintegration, that by everybody, go, you are from this tribe, go and be on your own. You are from that tribe, go and be on your own. You are from that tribe, go and be on your own. Let's all separate for peace to reign so that we can guard our borders. Because the reason why Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is fighting is that when we have the Igbo nation or the Biafra nation or whatever it is called, you would be able to secure your borders from these mad people, terrorists entering into your borders. But in the context of Nigeria now, anybody could drive vehicle from the north into the west or into the east, and you cannot check them, you cannot stop them, you cannot restrict them, because it is just one open place and you are under the canopy of Nigeria. And as long as you are under the canopy of Nigeria, you cannot really put up a check or a border to secure yourselves from the other parts of the contraption. So you must remain under that system. And everybody is cool with the killings. Today, it is like the regular news. We might wake up today and we hear that another community in the north had been invaded in Borno or in Plateau or in wherever, or Kano or so, in Kaduna. In Kaduna today, The number of people that have been killed in Kaduna. Oh my. Yet people are living, even there's no state of emergency. The governors, the people themselves, everybody's going on in their normal business. Ah, they killed our people here. Oh, they have killed people. And then maybe once a while you hear, let's form vigilante. And that vigilante, they just get some stuff that are not even strong enough. And then they use it to oppress themselves. The vigilantes will now start oppressing themselves, collecting monies from their own people in the name of security fees and all of that, oppressing their people, go to their markets, close people's shops, beat their people up, lock some of their people up. The slave masters using terrorists into their land to kill them. It's not their concern. They only see that problem as a means of creating a particular narrative of solution which they can use to still further enslave their people and to milk their people, make more money from their people, just like what Simon is doing. The slave masters have created a problem, and what he needs to do is to capitalize on that and make the people feel like he has a solution, so that he will continue to milk the people and make money from the people as the slave masters continually do what they are doing. He knows the slave masters will continue to do what they're doing. All he needs to do is to capitalize on that, to speak against them. Now, when we talk about Nigeria sponsoring Simon and his group, some of us don't understand what it means. You think it's just the presidency releases money to him. No, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. That's why he keeps, deceiving you people and telling you that you are talking about Nigeria sponsoring me and Nigeria not sponsoring me. Now, when we say Nigeria is sponsoring people, sponsoring some of these people who claim to be fighting for freedom, it is not because Nigeria government releases money and gives to them. No, it is simple. One, the Nigeria government, there are some politicians within us who through their activities and in connection with this, continue to fund these ones to continue to do what they are doing so that they can continue to make money from the system, to make money from the troubles, the confusion, and all of that. One. Two, the people already know that being under Nigeria is just going to bring trouble to everybody. So these people who claim to be fighting for freedom, all they need to do is to continue to capitalize on the problem and to create more of this problem, knowing that this problem they create will attract more of the Nigeria problem. And then when they do that, they can also hide under the canopy of telling the people they want to help them to be free, or they are fighting to help them to be free. The people themselves will be funding them and they'll be making money from the people. And then those ones who are in Nigeria, who work with Nigeria, also see it as a means of controlling the people who are already seeking to be free. So they fund the person who is claiming, whom they are looking up to, claiming to help them to be free, so that they can occupy positions where they will be controlling that person on behalf of Nigeria, at the same time controlling you, using you to make more money from Nigeria. Because the politicians who are paying the monies also need the troubles to continue to make their monies. They need the monies, they need the troubles to also keep asking for security votes. They need the monies the troubles to keep asking for security votes from the Nigeria contraption. They need the troubles to continue so that they will continue to talk about international intervention and collecting monies from organizations abroad, seeking that they are going to solve this problem, they're going to do that stuff to make more money. And the organization abroad that belong to the colonial masters want that to continue, so that they continue to bring money, using the monies they collect from the resources of the people and making so much money from them and giving them stipends as something they call security votes. So when we say that people like Simon is being sponsored by the Nigeria government, it must not be that the Nigeria government every month signs out money and gives to them. No, it is a chain reaction. It is a chain reaction. It is critical because it has a line of complex divides. Complex divides. Look at what is happening today in Ukraine. Some of you don't know all these monies you hear. The other time they said they have released 60 billion. The other time they said they have released some amount. All these monies you hear going to Ukraine, it's not because America is generous. Some of you think, oh wow, They want to help to rebuild Ukraine. You saw whether is it 400 and something million recently that France also, I've forgotten the amount, million pounds also that France said they are going to give for, and now they said the profits or the interest accrued on Russia funds that are internationally seized, seized in international banks and all of that, or wherever the funds are or their assets seized. The profits that are made or the interest that comes on those stuff, which accumulates to about $50 billion, or is it dollars or euro or so? Yes, $50 billion would be sent to Ukraine. Now, all of these funds going to Ukraine doesn't mean that the West is so generous and they love Ukraine. No, that's not what it means. It's just like saying that Simon and Co claiming to be fighting for Biafra doesn't mean they love Biafra. What the West is doing is those monies are going to be they will talk about building Ukraine, right? But the monies would go to their own companies, those people, those government officials, those politicians who have proxy companies or partners who are funding their political ambition and funding their political stance, who have companies that they also give them huge sums of money from the profit they make, which of course they have interest in. Those monies go to those companies to produce the materials needed and to carry out the construction that is needed in Ukraine. And then also Ukraine would also go into deals and contracts that so business would be controlled by so person, so company, based on the fact that they are bringing this intervention into their system. So the people get poorer in Ukraine, because it's just like what the Chinese are doing in Africa. They come to buy properties, they come to do, tell you they are bringing development, they are bringing bridges, they are bringing markets, they are opening China Mall, they are doing all of this stuff. All of this stuff is not because they love you, but because when they buy your properties and do all of this stuff, they control your resources, making more money from you. And when they fix the prices and all of this stuff, you suffer, because you depend more on foreign exchange, the money they bring in, and of course, for you to deal with them, you must keep buying their currencies, and the value of your own currency falls. So you see, the business that is in Ukraine that this war has brought is so mighty for the West. So they will keep allowing first those producing the arms and ammunition to keep producing, because they are the ones producing it. And as they are producing it, Ukraine and other business people are bringing the money to fund the production. And then they are sending the arms to Ukraine, which these arms are being paid for from the resources of the people, the resources of Americans. They sap the resources of the Americans, the tax, the natural resources, and all of that. Use them to build these things and tell the Americans they are going, or their country people, that they are going to send these arms to Ukraine. They are going to give Ukraine this amount from taxpayers' money, and then they use that to secure businesses, bigger business, because once those places are bombed, this Kyiv is bombed, Kharkiv is bombed, Donetsk or Donbass, all those places are bombed, are blown up, destroyed. There need to be a rebuilding. They now allot the contracts to their own personal companies. Their own personal companies will now go get the resources from the American people that they are going to build. They want to build Ukraine, so we're going to be supporting Ukraine with so $billion. And then they take those monies, give to their own companies, their own personal companies that will go to Ukraine to now begin to say they are building that place. Ukrainians will say, wow, the West is so generous. They're helping us to build ourselves. No, they're not helping you. They are taking monies from their own people, at the same time impoverishing you, because they are going to go into contracts and treaties with your government, which the American government today, of course, last week they had a treaty with the Ukrainian government to keep supplying arms and do some stuff for the next, how many, 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or so, I can't remember. All of these deals are to secure the interest of these people who own the companies that produce the weapons, and these people who own the companies that will rebuild the place after using the weapons to destroy the people. And it is still the taxpayers that are paying for it. The same way also in the so-called Biafra, when the Nigerian government is destroying, those who are telling you that they are fighting for you want that destruction to continue to happen. So what they do is to continue to foment trouble here. When they go to kill a military person here, they run away. Then the military will come with their stuff come to kill the indigenous people, then they will now tell you that this military have come to kill our people. We are not going to take it lightly. We are going to make sure we deal with them. Come to our fundraising on Saturday. Keep funding us. We are going to help you kill these people. Lord have mercy. That is the plan. That is how Nigeria is funding all of these people. And Nigeria government knows this. They know that they are helping these people to make money. At the same time, they know they are profiting from them because through their activities, they are helping them to kill more. That is why the chief of defense staff will tell you that their concern is the East. Whereas Boko Haram is killing people in the North, it's not their concern. They send more arms, ammunition, and more soldiers to the west, to the East. You know why? Because that is where they need to continue to make money by infiltrating that place with force. When the military comes to that region, they go to the oil pipeline places and all those places you have gas and all of that. They also continue to make resources, make money from those producing and making more money from there. And then they now put up, what do you call it now? Checkpoints where they collect money from every citizen. Because the monies they collect from those checkpoints, the drivers put the bill on the people. They charge everything on the people to come and pay these people. The same way the American government is taxing the people to build Ukraine to feed their own company. The same way the military also needs all this trouble to continue. And the people claiming to be fighting for freedom for you also need the trouble to continue, the military to continue to do this, so that they will come and tell you that they are going to stop them at the checkpoints, yet you are not seeing anything stop. We are going to make sure they don't take oil from here, yet you don't see anything. They make all this noise because they want to get money from you. And they make all those noise because they have fomented trouble to allow the military to come so that it will be like there is chaos and they are going to fight those people back. This is how these things work. And because the people don't see value, they don't reason very well, they don't see value in themselves, they would keep, and because of the less knowledge they have, they will keep funding these people because they are afraid of taking these things by themselves and taking action on their own or by themselves to resist all of this stuff so that this madness will stop. So they will continue to be afraid of freedom. They prefer to continue to fund one person somewhere who is screaming and shouting because in the first place, they don't like themselves. They don't like themselves. Everybody wants to control the other person. Everybody, this one wants to control the other one. Somebody will come and tell you that they are government in exile. They don't have a community they're controlling. They don't have a place. Now, the other time I saw, was it yesterday? I was reading, going through their criminals platform, Simon, and I saw something. He said that he has given. He said no. They banned the building of police barracks, military barracks, all of that in Biafra land. Now there is military barracks. There are police barracks, military barracks. There are military barracks all over Biafra land. Military checkpoints. They have not even been able to stop the checkpoints. They have not stopped the siege on Olo and all those places. They have not stopped the siege at Aba. They have not been able to stop the checkpoints. They have not even been able to break down or destroy the barracks around there. They are talking about banning any other construction of barracks. The little ones you are supposed to do, you have not been able to do it. You are talking about building now, you want to stop it. Building a barracks. You see how they deceive our people, and our people don't reason well. And I saw again on one of their platforms again, because it's a long time I looked through. I just went through yesterday to look at the nonsense that's going to be on there. Because once you see, the more you see, the more you weep for those who are following them. And I saw the declaration of Biafra from Finland in December will bring peace in Southeast. How? How? That is what a reasonable person will ask. How? Because right now, all the noise you're making, including stopping just election, you couldn't stop election. Stopping election, even in Imo, you couldn't stop election in Imo. You are talking about bringing peace in the whole Southeast because you stayed in Finland and you said, we'll declare Biafra. Mad people everywhere. And you see people jubilating, happy. our crime minister have spoken. And you begin to wonder, what is the mentality of these ones who are believing in obvious lies? That is the next topic I'm going to do maybe during the week, or if I'm not able to do during the week on Saturday, I'll do it on Saturday. The mentality that keeps our people enslaved. Continue. That's why Papa Jima will say here, which to an extent, you have to believe it. Slave is a sickness without solution. We have not found a solution yet. It's a sickness because it is in our DNA. We have become accustomed to it and used to it, that we now see the sickness as something that we have to live with. We don't have solution yet for it. And he's correct. Because every madness that is going on now is actually no solution. None of them is even a relief, because they are bringing further death to our people. See how many of our people have been killed daily, weekly, monthly, every moment. See what happened at Aba recently. See what is happening at Ihiala, Olu, Osu, and all those places. See what is happening in our land. See how Simon's boys would take people and cut their neck, just like the Fulanis, just like the terrorists, the Nigeria contraption is doing to the people. Cutting their necks with knife. I was watching how they were cutting a lady's neck. The so-called Simon's man, Gentle, working for him. You think anybody will work for Mazen Namkano and do that? That person will go down. Mazen Namkano will chase him and make sure he's down. Mazen Namkano will come out and announce it. But yet, now, what does that tell you? I'm going to go further into this. The mentality. I'm going to do this during the week also. Please share this broadcast to the people. Let people listen. And I'm going to give more reasons why slaves find it hard to be free. They are afraid of freedom. They are so afraid of freedom, because freedom seems to be like more pain. When they reason out the pain they are in slavery, they now think that freedom would cause much or worse pain. And because of that, I'm going to analyze this better the next time I come on. I want to thank you guys. I know that please share this broadcast on all your platforms. Let people hear this story and this truth. And also subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. And may your week be blessed. Tomorrow is 17th. It's public holiday everywhere in places. But your week will be blessed. Today is Sunday, 16th of June, 2024. Tomorrow work begins for some people, and Tuesday work begins for most people. So enjoy your week and stay safe and blessed. Be careful, be cautious, be vigilant so that you don't lose anything. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and God bless you very good.